and Hizmet has been a key factor in promoting education in Turkey as well as outside of Turkey. I think, secondly, the values of charity, Hizmet's willingness to support emergency response as needed, for example, or support other charities around, not only in Turkey but around the world, has been very striking. I'm Rabbi Lawrence Seidman. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and moved to California most of my life in California. I was originally trained as an engineer. I've worked for many engineering companies. I have a Ph.D., a doctorate in engineering from the University of California at Berkeley. And I worked for the last 20 years or so for Boeing Company in their Phantom Works Advanced Research and Development Division. But about 10 years ago, I got more interested in Judaism and decided to retire from my engineering career at Boeing as a senior manager, and went to rabbinical school for 5 years in Los Angeles, became a rabbi. I've been very impressed by the Hizmet movement over the years. I first encountered Hizmet here, of course, at Irvine, and I've had the chance to go to Turkey twice with the Hizmet movement, once with the support of the Pacifica Institute here, and once with the Fountain magazine for a week to meet other scholars and thinkers and talk about religion and science and belief and faith. And I think it's rare to find an organization which is so bottom-up driven, which has gotten the principles so deeply ingrained into every member that you can talk to anybody and get the same feeling of what the commitment is to Islam, the commitment is to doing the right things in the world, and the personal sacrifice that Hizmet members produce. Well, I've not met Fethullah Gulen, but I've read some of his writings on the subject of interfaith and the subject of evolving moderate Islam. I've been watching Hizmet in terms of the world picture. I think there's been several aspects that are very impressive. First, I think education is a key factor in producing the modern world. The future of the world, the future of democracy, the future of the economy depends on education. And Hizmet has been a key factor in promoting education in Turkey as well as outside of Turkey. I think, secondly, the values of charity, Hizmet's willingness to support emergency response as needed, for example, or support other charities around, not only in Turkey but around the world, has been very striking. And I think my understanding from the week I spent in Turkey with the Fountain movement is Islam is a religion of love. And that's nothing like what we see in the popular press. So I think the idea that terrorists, maybe by the definition, killing innocent people, killing children, can never be a religious act. I cannot conceive of anybody with any claim to religion can say, I am close to understanding what God wants, and God wants me to kill these people. I can understand that. I think when Fethullah Gulen says that kind of activity is inconsistent with Islam, it's inconsistent, I think, with any real religion, including Islam. I think the question of interfaith activities is a very central one. If we believe, if I am a monotheist and you are a monotheist, we both believe there is one God. And Islam believes, I understand, that all the prophets, Jesus, Moses, and so on, are all valid, true prophets. If you believe that, if you believe there's one God, if you believe there are many prophets, then you have to believe that different people understand God in different ways. And it just seems inevitable to me that we must learn to say, I think I understand what God wants of me. You think you understand what God wants of you. You do it your way, I'll do it my way. The important thing is we're both doing God's work on earth. And if we believe we're put here to improve the life of the world, the Hebrew phrase is tikkun olam, to fix the universe, to repair the universe. So we can say we share the same goal, we disagree on strategy. You find it better to pray in Arabic, I find it better to pray in Hebrew, he finds it better to pray in Latin or in English. I don't think God is sitting up there in heaven saying, that's Latin, he's a bad person. I think God is saying they're trying to understand what God wants. As long as we're all trying to fix the world, we can work together. And that requires we understand each other. It requires that we realize that you are good people. They're all good people. And we're trying to do the same, trying to do God's work here on earth in an interfaith way. I think it's incredibly important because if we're fighting with each other, we're not fighting the real issues. Education is the key, the absolute key to democracy. If you want to have a democracy, you have to have intelligent voters who understand the issues. You have to have education, both so voters can vote intelligently, as well as so the economy can improve, we can do business and science and technology and move on. I visited a few schools when I was in Turkey, and I think there's really three things I want to comment on. One is we visited a school in Niğde that was a very impressive school, and the children are placing high on the university entry exams. I think that's very important. We visited a school in Şanlıurfa, which is focused primarily on Kurdish kids. And wonderful, sweet children coming after hours to this class. And the director told us that he's competing with the PKK, that if these children learn to read, learn to do arithmetic, they're not going to be terrorists in the hills. If he doesn't do anything, they'll be on the streets after school, and they will be terrorists in the hills. So it's very important for that purpose. And I was incredibly impressed when we were in Niğde, and we talked to the man who started the school. And we asked him about his life story. And he told us that he had made a lot of money in business, and he had gone to Fethullah Gulen and said, I'm a rich man. What should I do? Should I build a mosque? Should I build a bridge? Should I pave the road to the countryside? What should I do? And Mr. Gulen said, build a school and teach science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Build a school. And I think that's such superb advice. If more energy was focused on building schools and less on fighting with other religions and less on building big temples and cathedrals, we'd have a much better world. We visited also when we were there 𝐀𝐭𝐤. And if anybody doesn't know, that literally, is anybody there? An organization that responds in much of the world to disasters, natural disasters, emergency occurrences. And the question we asked was, did you respond to Katrina in New Orleans? And the answer was, no, we sent money to our American counterpart organization, and they responded to Katrina. So I think it's wonderful to see a group of people, Muslim in this case, who give charity, fund these organizations, work in these organizations, but are not only limited to supporting issues that affect Muslims on the street, but are equally prepared to work for Americans in New Orleans or any place else in the world where disasters occur and help is needed. I don't claim to understand Turkish politics. I'm not sure I know anybody who understands Turkish politics. And it's easy, apparently, in Turkey to stir up conspiracy theories. People seem to like conspiracy theories. But I cannot understand how a responsible leader of a country criticizes Hizmet, because everything I see is things the country should have. If I think about the U.S. analogy, if we had more support and better schools, if we had more opportunities for poor people to get out of their slum conditions and go to universities, if we have more opportunities, more places to respond to natural disasters, these are all good things. And I would think responsible government would support all those things. I think there's a fear when we hear that the government of Turkey is expressing negative opinions about these. I can only think that that's not a future of democracy. The drive is to have a less educated electorate, a less sophisticated population, fewer educated people coming from minority groups, from the Kurdish population, from the other minorities. And that's bad for the country and bad for the world. So I hope those things are wrong, and I hope those things stop, and we can have a country where everybody can contribute to society in the best way possible.